And if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and then we'll take a break at in between presentations and answer questions too, and have you guys talk at that time. So yeah, thanks for everybody for joining, and keep yourself on mute if you aren't talking. I just want to give a shout out to Jody Myers and thank her for helping us run these courses. She does a great job advertising for us and sending the links out to everybody, sending the recordings out, and I really appreciate her help in this. And she's going to help me keep track of all your questions too during this. So thank you, Jody.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
Good, thanks. All right, so we're going to talk about trail riding and camping in Michigan. We taught a camping course in Cadillac, Barb Curdy and I did in March. And some of the participants, a lot of the participants there were experienced campers. Some of you are here tonight again. And I think what I heard from people there that they were wanting more detailed information about the trail riding and camping in Michigan. So that's kind of where the idea for this came from. And then in the survey I'm going to present in the second half of this, everybody, over 50% of you are most interested in riding in the UP, but you haven't visited yet. So we've got a few people from the UP Trail Horse Association board here tonight to help with any questions you have about the UP. It's really great riding. It's some of my favorite riding. And I encourage everybody to get up there. Barb, I can hear you. Barb Funk.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm not sure Waylon can hear you, but hey, we'll work it out. I'll just turn my ears up. Yeah,
all right.
It's crazy. All right. There we go. Okay, I'm here.
All right, good. Okay, so we have Joan. I'll introduce you guys right now. Joni Gleason is vice president, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And Kelly Gribble is the president. And I saw Kelly Kane's on here, a board member at large, is it? And is there anybody else? I don't see anybody else on from UP Trail Horse, but if you are, shout out. But thank you all for joining us. And we will get started. All right, first I want to start with the economic benefits that we bring as trail riders to Michigan. A lot of times I hear trail riders saying, oh, well, we know, we're a small user group. And, I want to point out that even though we are a smaller user group than, say, bicycles, we bring almost 3 times as much economic benefit to the state of Michigan than bicycles do. Just because our chosen sport is a very expensive sport. And we aren't keeping our our partners out there on the trail just in our garage and not using them until when not doing anything with them unless we're riding them. We have to buy houses for them, barns for them. We have veterinarians and farriers, and I mean just everything else, the tack we get, the hay we buy, the grain we buy, everything that we do contributes to that economy. So this green section is climbing, hiking, tent camping. I don't know why they put all of that together, but that's the green section. The blue section is the equestrian and the orange section is the bicycles. In 2023, the American Horse Council did another large study, and the equine industry was valued at $177 billion that it adds to the economy annually. The recreation sector is the #2 contributor. We are just behind showing. We probably will be the #1 contributor the next time they run the study, is my guess. There's almost 3 million horses in the US, and the median age of horse owners is 38 years old. And not only do we, buy things and that, but we also take care of our trails. And in 2024 in Michigan, the equestrian trail volunteer investment was over $900,000 into our trails. And we know that that number is greatly underreported. Every year we are getting better at reporting our hours, and we're getting more accurate counts, but we know that that's greatly underreported. And that works out to be over $1,000 per mile of investment that we put into our horse trails in Michigan. And we think that's pretty great. And you can find all this information on our Michigan Horse Trails Association website at any time. If you need that information, if somebody's saying, trail riding is a dying sport, which is what I've heard, and be like, no, we're actually not. So we have the Michigan Horse Trails Directory, and this is Michigan's trail riding, camping, and volunteer information source. I created this in 2020, and Stacy Shannon and I updated it and moved it to a new website, created a new website for this so that we could have detailed descriptions and a lot more information on that for you. So I'll list off what we have, and then I'm going to take you to the website to show you how you can use that to your benefit. We do list all the trail associations in Michigan. We think it's incredibly important to recognize our volunteers and all that they're doing, and to make it easy for you guys to find the volunteer associations that you can, go attend their events, hopefully join them, and, even volunteer with them. We list all the trail riding and camping locations in Michigan. We list the trail and camps by region. We have a map that links you to the exact locations now, so you can find the exact location of trailhead, staging areas, and campgrounds just by clicking a link, and I'll show you that. We have descriptions and photos of the areas, what amenities they have, and any pertinent information and links that you need to really enjoy your time there. We have a table that shows you the cart-friendly trails, and also the public riding stables in Michigan. And we also have listed the GIS trail maps. So those are the maps that you can use with your trail apps. And for Northern Michigan and the UP, that really is the way to go, is using an app, because there's a lot of areas you can ride that most areas you can ride, state forest roads, Forest Service roads that, aren't on the horse trails map, but it's all open to equestrians to ride. We have the trail event calendar, so that tells you everything that's happening on the horse trails in Michigan at any given time. It's a really cool thing to be able to say, hey, I've got this weekend open, I'd like to go camp somewhere, look that up and see who's having an event and go join them for that. We have Google Maps, and we have a map of all the trails, camps, public riding stables, your destinations and conveniences on the road. We have a trail association map, and we have a rider location map, so you can find people to ride with. And then we have trail info also. So we have apps, map resources, the incident report form, and trail etiquette information. So we'll go over to the website and I can show you a little bit. We've tried to keep it pretty simple and not have a ton of information on this site. So it's pretty similar to what we had on the old the menu is pretty similar, but we have a lot more information for you. So trail associations, we have a table for all the trail associations in Michigan, and we tell you, that economic benefit that they bring to Michigan. This is under trails and camps. This is where you can find the tables for each region. So right here we have the Southeast region. We have the South Central, we have the Southwest, we have the Northern Trail, Michigan trails, the UP, the cart-friendly trails, and the public riding stables. So we can take a look at the UP one and go to, let's go to Headquarters Lake. So we have the whole description. It tells you exactly where Headquarters Lake is and tells you everything you need to know about it, describes the campsites, and Kelly Gribble's done a great job of, giving us all the information that we need for up there. And there's even a video that Holly Jacobs made for us. So some of the trails have videos. If people have made them and I know about them, then I ask permission if I can add them to the website. And that just gives you a little, more information about going there. And then down here, we have these 3 tables. So location, it tells you that it's in the Upper Peninsula, it's in Newberry, it's managed by the DNR. And then that right here, the campground and day staging, they happen to be in the same place. So that gives you the exact location. You can just click this directions button and that will give you the exact directions there. So you can access this from your phone. As you're pulling out of the driveway, find your directions and, get on your way up to Headquarters Lake. And I do believe that I have everything accurate. I believe I have all of these locations very accurate. I really tried to make sure that that was the case when I redid the website. So this, the Headquarters Lake is managed by the staff from Muscalong State Park. And you can go up there and use the shower, sanitation station, and Wi-Fi at the park for a little bit of money. And I think it's what, 15, Kelly? 10?
It is $5 a shower and $10 to fill or dump.
Okay. So that information is there. You can find, the exact directions to Muscalong State Park. That is 5 miles north of Headquarters Lake. And then we have the trail info here. So it's State Forest Trail. It's rated easy. Other users are motorized. And yes, there is hunting allowed. The Trail Association that is associated with this is the Upper Peninsula Trail Horse Association. That's their website right here. Their Facebook group is here. This is the DNR trail map. So you could also go to this link right here. This is a GIS location map. So you could save this on your phone to files and then update or upload that to your trail app from files. And you'd have your map, right there. This is a suggested trail map that we have that gives you everything in that area. So if you want to ride any of the other forest roads or trails up there, you can find those on this map. And that's the one that I suggest for having really fun rides in that area. And then the trail overview will be the DNR webpage for Headquarters Lake. And then over here, we have the campground information. So there's no electric. There you use the trees to pick it from. There's no corrals. There is a hand pump for water, and there's a vault toilet. And then this is the link to the campground webpage. And then this is a link to the DNR reservations website or webpage. And when you're making equestrian reservations, make sure you click this equestrian link. And then this will give you, this dot right here will give you the equestrian campgrounds. This is for the shoreline horseback riding season in November. September is when you can start making reservations right here. And then this is for the cabins that allow horses. So those are at Waterloo and Sleepy Hollow. So anyways, we've tried to make everything right there at your fingertips. And then these are just some photos of the wonderful rides that you can have up there at Headquarters Lake. Okay. And then we do also have the Facebook group that we've created to help share all the information from the directory. We talk about these virtual courses there. We share all the events, and everything that's happening on the trails. And it's a public group. Anybody can post to it. And we encourage, the other trail associations to post their information there too. Okay, some of the I guess, yeah, I did not do the event calendar, so we'll go back to that and I'll show you the event calendar. So this is the calendar and it tells you everything that's happening out there on the trails. And as you can see, we have a whole lot of fun things that do happen on our trails. So as I said before, if you've got a free weekend, it's a really great thing to go out and join, an association at their event. You'll meet a lot of great people. You'll be supporting their work that they do, and you'll have a lot of fun. These are the maps. So the trail map right here, the Google map. This will also give you the location, so you could also go here. What I like about this is if somebody's asking about what kind of riding or what trails or campgrounds are in what area, you can find that information here easily at a glance. And the blue are the day staging, the purple are the equine campgrounds, the riding stables are in green, food destinations orange, and conveniences on the road, like, easy to access gas stations and that sort of thing are in the red. Trail information, so we've got some information on apps. We've got the incident report form that you can link to. We've got the call 911 for human emergencies and the DNR wrap line if you need help. And then information on trail etiquette and more information on what 3 words, information on the maps you can create from the DNR and from the Forest Service. And that's pretty much what we have on that site. So we're really just concentrating on giving you the information about the trails and camping in Michigan. So the trail events that you can find in Michigan with all the associations, trail association events, they're typically scavenger hunts, poker rides, Halloween rides, destination rides. You might be riding to a restaurant, judge trail rides. And we do have the Michigan Horse Council statewide trail ride also, which is a competition ride where you can ride for hours and also miles and win prizes for the top people that ride the most or hours or miles. So there's also these fun duck hunts now that we're starting, and bingo rides and all kinds of things happening out there. So our associations are very creative, and it's a lot of fun to join them for these events. The Shore to Shore, a lot of people know about our Shore to Shore ride. It's an incredibly unique ride. This year they're celebrating 61 years. They ride across the state of Michigan. They go from Lake Michigan to Lake Huron or vice versa. And MTRA takes care of 16 of our equestrian camps in Michigan and 420 miles of our trail. They do a ton of work. And the camps are Forest Service camps and DNR camps and trail. So they do work with both of those land managers. We have fox hunting available on our trails in Michigan. We have the Waterloo Fox Hunting Club, Metamora, and Battle Creek. This is where you ride with the hounds and you do jumps on the trails. You're jumping, man-made jumps sometimes, and then just trees that are down too. There's 3 levels, and the lowest level, you do not have to jump. Every jump does have a go around. So it's fun to get out there and try that. I have ridden with the Waterloo Fox Hunting Club, and it was a lot of fun. We have the Michigan CMO, Competitive Mounted Orienteering. I just rode with them this past weekend and had a ton of fun. And you ride with a compass, and you learn how to use that compass and take readings. And then you also are using your map reading skills too, because you have to they give you a map, they tell you what location the clue is in, and you kind of have to figure that out from where you are. And then you start looking for the uh, clue that they give you, and then that's where you'll take your reading from. So they have objective stations, and they call it the mounted treasure hunt. So it really is a lot of fun. If you haven't tried that, definitely get out there and ride with them. And then we have the Great Lakes Distance Riding Association. They do competitive riding, they do endurance, and they do limited distance. And this year, Barb Curdy is bringing back the shore to shore distance ride. So that happened on the shore to shore trail for 40 years. It did end back in 2016 or 17, I believe. But she is bringing that back for this year, 1 year only. And she has people coming from as far away as Arizona. So it's really been a great way to get the information out about our very unique and awesome shore to shore trail. So we're hoping these people come back and ride with MTRA too. Or people that can't do, Barb's ride will ride with MTRA. And then our trail associations, of course, always put on work bees. They put on clinics and education. And some of them have confidence courses that you can ride when you visit them. We do also have the shoreline horseback riding season. This has been just an incredible addition to the riding in Michigan. Everybody that goes loves this, and I can't recommend it enough if you haven't done it yet. The DNR, we used to have to provide volunteers to clean up the manure, but last year the DNR handled the manure, and they're going to from now on. The 2 complaints the DNR did have, so if you do go, please make sure you are not doing these things, that riders were not cleaning up in the staging area. There is a manure trailer provided, so you can throw your manure in there. Sometimes it's not easy to see because it's kind of in the middle, and if you didn't park that far down, you might not see it. And then the other thing was riders not leaving by closing time. You want to make sure that you're back and you're out of there before closing time. So pay attention to that time and make sure you're not making the staff, stay longer than what they're scheduled for. Jenny Cook did receive a certificate of peer achievement from the governor's conference for helping to get this season going in Michigan. And I think all of us are familiar with her hard work at doing that. This in 2024, many of the days of the first 3 weeks were sold out. There were over 2,500 reservations made. And we had riders from all over the US. We had them from Arizona, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. So I would say the word is getting out about that season. And again, if you haven't done it, definitely recommend it. Where can we ride in Michigan? People do ask this. So on land managed by parks and recreation departments, and in state game areas too. Usually, we typically have to ride on designated horse trail. So you're not supposed to ride off of trail at all in these areas. This is, there has to be designated horse trail, and that's where you're allowed to ride. On forest land, so we have state forest land and we have federal forest land, we can ride anywhere unless we are expressly prohibited. And on state forest areas, this list right here is where we do have restrictions to equestrian access by a land use order of the director. So these are the places where you would have to know if you can ride at all, where you can ride, or you're just not allowed to ride there at all. I did want to bring everybody's attention to the fact that we are having we're holding an event. We're doing a combined event with MTRA this year. And it's called the 61+1 Celebration Ride. So Michigan Trail Riders is celebrating their 61st anniversary, and this is going to be the inaugural camp and ride weekend for us, for Michigan Horse Trails Association. We have a ton of fun things planned. We hope that you can join us. You can register for this event, and it's August 6th through 10th at Goose Creek in Grayling, Michigan on the Shore to Shore Trail. It's a really awesome camp. It's a lot of people. Actually, when we just did the MTRA survey, it is the favorite camp from that survey. And it's very open. There's lots and lots of parking. This is a beginner-friendly event. If you need help and you are a beginner camper, we are encouraging you to come. We are asking people when they register if they would like to mentor a beginner, and we have a lot of people who have said yes already. So we've got plenty of people there to help you get started. We're going to have a saddle fit discussion with K&K Saddlery. Kiana Ryan is awesome. Everybody knows her, or a lot of people do know her already, and she has agreed to come and chat with us about saddle fit, and she'll be there the whole weekend for any help that you may need, individual help. And we're going to have some application education, as long as we have good enough service to do that. We have a lot of destination rides that you can do from there. We can ride to a lake and even in a lake. And around that lake, we can ride to a ghost town, and we can ride to the Frederick Inn, and also I think it's the Swamp 3 bar. So there's a couple different restaurants we can ride to, and then we also have a lot of activities planned. It'll be a lot of fun. Bring your kids and just come and help us celebrate. One of our questions was, what do we do for emergency response when we're out there in the campgrounds? I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that our next virtual course is a disaster preparedness course. That is scheduled for June 12th. It was rescheduled because Rebecca could not make the one in April. So we're looking forward to this, especially with all of the severe weather that has been happening. We've had a lot of tornadoes in Michigan. I've seen a lot of people asking on Facebook, what do we do? Brown County Equestrian Camp got hit very hard with a EF2 tornado over the weekend. And unfortunately, a horse and 2 dogs did die. No humans died, but some were injured. And there's a whole lot of damage going on other than that too. So and we're coming into fire season with the ice storm that happened in northern Michigan and some of the UP. We'll have an increased risk of fire with all of that downfall on the forest floor. They are working, to do salvage cleanup of the timber, but there's still going to be more than there ever, has been on that floor. So, we're just going to have to really pay attention this year, and really for probably like the next 5 years before everything degrades. So the other information for emergency response is check that kiosk when you come into camp or the trailhead for emergency info. We do share this emergency form with our trail associations, and we encourage them to make one and post it at their trailhead on the kiosk or in their campground. And we found that to be very helpful. This came about because one of my friend's horses colicked at Ionia, and she did not have any clue of who to contact, when that happened. So it's really a helpful piece of to have piece of information to have there. And I've actually used it at Kensington to call a veterinarian for a horse that was in trouble there. And the next one is if you go to the American Association of Equine Practitioners, you can click this Find a Veterinarian button right here. And you can search for where you need a veterinarian, and you can find your closest veterinarian that is in this directory. Not every single veterinarian will be in this directory, but many of them are. So that's a really great resource to have bookmarked and remember that it's available for if you need it. You should always call the camp managing office, and that information should always be on the kiosk. So, if you're at a DNR camp, it'll be the DNR office, a Forest Service camp, Kensington Metro Park, whatever it is, that number should be there. And really, you could have those programmed into your phone, especially if you're heading where that you're not going to have service. And then you could drive out to service, but you wouldn't have to be searching for that phone too. But you can always call, if you're on state land, the DNR wrap line. This is where conservation officers get dispatched from. And this is the number there. I will tell you that we sometimes are told in our equestrian campgrounds that there is no conservation officer to send out. So that's not always you don't always get a response, from that. But it's still worth it to, call, report what's going on, and, maybe somebody can get out there at some point. If not, then it still at least gives them the record of what's going on too. You want to call 911 for all human emergencies. That has not changed. And you can also text 911 now. If you can't get a call through, try texting, because a lot of times you can get a text through if you have bad service, but you can't get a call through. We have this emergency responder information form also. So this is a emergency form that you will fill out and you will keep in your truck or your trailer. And if you are not responsive when when the emergency responders come, this gives them permission to treat your animal. It tells them who your veterinarian is. It gives them your emergency contact information. You could have, if you have US Rider, you could put that information on here. This is a really important form to have on yourself when you're traveling. US Rider and Trail Guard insurance, I recommend that for any rider. These insurances insure you. So even if you're traveling with your friend and their rig, you still will be insured if you call them and you need their help. I've called both of these. I've had both of these. They both are great. Great companies to work with, and they really do help when you're in an emergency. Trail Guard got me, in safely to a farm after my truck broke down on the expressway. Within an hour and a half, I was tucked in with my horses, ready for my truck was at the diesel shop, the closest diesel shop. US Rider has saved me a ton, and they don't only trail or tow your truck and your trailer. You can use it for all your other vehicles too. And like I said, even if you're not in your own vehicle, you can use it for whatever vehicle you are in. The Trail Association contact for the area, that's always a really great thing to have, especially when you're traveling outside of your area. take the UP Trail Horse Association contact information. If you're traveling to the shore to shore, make sure you've got MTRA, how to get a hold of them. It's a little bit of work ahead of time can really help you out in a bind. And then, you can even search for the emergency information for that area also. Who do you contact in an emergency? What hospital is closest? All that information. So. And then I wanted to bring your attention to these 3 things too. So the What 3 Words app, I recommend that everybody download that and have that on your phone. This is an emergency location app. It has divided the world into 10-foot by 10-foot boxes, and each box has a unique 3 words to it. If you give those 3 words to an emergency responder, they can plug those into the app and they will know exactly where you're located. So if you're out on the trail, it's not easy for them to find. Yeah, they can get to the trailhead maybe, but then how do they go about finding you? So this is a really important app to have. I guess it will work even if you go somewhere where you don't have service, if you open the app and you start it running before you get to the place where you're not going to have service, then it will, give you your location. Not all areas in Michigan, are using that yet, but most areas in Michigan are using it. The only one I've heard of that is not is what the Western UP. So I still think it's an incredibly useful app to have. And play around with it and, see, locate yourself and find your 3 words. And it'd be great to just know your 3 words at home too. And then, always learn if you don't know how yet to drop a pin on a map. That's exactly how I told Trail Guard where I was when my truck broke down on the expressway. I just said, you know what? I'm going to drop a pin and I'm going to text that to you. And then you're going to know exactly where I am. And they did. And that worked really well. So the same for, if you have service and you're, talking with emergency responders, that'd be a great way for them to find you too. And then the text 911. So that is now available throughout all of Michigan. If you cannot, call if you can, text if you cannot. And for that first text, the information that they would like from you is the nature of the emergency, your location, and the help you need in that first text. And then they'll ask you more and more questions, as you go on. Okay, I think we have a few questions. Oh, are you sharing your screen? Okay. The emergency preparedness has been shared with the DNR camp offices and law. Oh, that course, Barb, you're asking about if that has been? I haven't done that, but yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. I actually meant to share it with the emergency responders that took our large animal emergency rescue course too. So yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna write that down. Okay. And then some maps and apps that we like for our equestrian trails, the What 3 Words, of course, Rambler, Avenza, and Maprika, Ride with GPS. This is a really cool app. It will actually beep at you. Barb's going to use it for her distance ride, but it will beep at you if you put a track in and you get off of trail. So that's going to be a really great thing to use for shore to shore. Rambler allows you to record your tracks and then share them publicly or privately. And then I could come in and I could follow Jody's tracks. Like if she's ridden somewhere where I haven't, or she knows an area much better than I do, or if she has a ride I want to do, then I can just go out, grab her tracks and follow those exact tracks. Avenza and Maprika, this is where you can upload maps. So those GIS maps that we have on the Michigan Horse Trails directory, these are great apps for using for uploading those maps. I use Avenza because I have an iPhone. You can't use the Maprika with iPhone. If you do have Android, you can still use Maprika. We have All Trails, Gaia, and Trail Forks. Chris with Ionia is very familiar and has actually worked to help put our equestrian trails into the app of Trail Forks. So he's a great resource for that. And I think I'll have him, teach one of these at some point too, to tell us about Trail Forks. Onyx Hunt is a wonderful application to use. It has most of the trails and forest roads and everything already uploaded to it. A lot of the people that live in northern Michigan and the UP use that app. The DNR GIS maps, you can use the ones I've created on the Michigan Horse Trails directory, and you can also go to the DNR and the USFS websites and create maps, create your own maps. We're going to keep improving these maps that we share with you on the Michigan Horse Trails directory. So we can add routes to these maps, like the location of the destination rides to the Goose Creek. I'm planning on adding those to the map for Goose Creek so that, you guys can follow that exact track and know exactly where you're going up there. And then for a location reporting app, Road ID is really great for that. My friend Rose rides my horses, and if she's riding alone, she will link me on her Road ID app, and it'll tell me she's taken off. It'll alert me if she's standing still for too long because something might have happened, and then she tells me when she's off the horse and heading home. So that's a really great way if you, want to let people know your location. And then I got asked about equestrian etiquette. So these are some infographics that Brandy Miller has made for ETS. So we want to always clean up all of our manure, and then read the rules. Place that manure where it's supposed to be. Is there a manure bunker? If so, use it. Are you supposed to pack it out with you, or is it okay to throw it and spread it, in the campground or in the woods? Bedding is a no-no. We do not want you to use bedding in corrals or on picket lines. Bedding will create a wet and muddy mess for us, and we will have to redo the footing for that area. If you do feel like you have to use bedding, please remove it completely and place it in that manure bunker or take it back with you, or spread it out before you leave. Hay, same thing. Hay will hold moisture. That all has to get cleaned up and put in the appropriate area. Leave nothing behind. If you've used twine or hooks to fasten things with it, take it with you. Leave no trace. Leave your campsite, better than it was when you came. And then always pitch in. Our trail riders work incredibly hard for our trails, for our campgrounds, help them out in whatever way you can. Equestrian trail etiquette. So remember polite passing. So you're going to pass riders at the same gate they are going and ask for permission to pass. Wait for a safe area to pass. Don't ever canter past another group. That's really dangerous to do. Horses get just as worried when a fast horse is coming up behind them as they do if a bike or an ATV is coming up. Don't tailgate. Keep at least one horse's length in front of you. If you can see the hind feet of the horse in front of you, you are at a safe distance. Water crossings, you're gonna, wait for all the horses to have their turn to get a drink. Keep your horses far enough away. Don't let them bully another horse at a water crossing, and try not to let your horse splash. I have a really hard time with that. I have horses that really love water. but that can stop other horses from getting a drink when your horse is trying to play in that water. There's a time and place for letting them play, but and then stick together. Don't cross roads, don't stay together if there's a road crossing and there's a car coming, make sure everybody can get across before that car comes, or wait until that car goes by and then pass all together or cross all together. Keep your young and experienced horses and or riders in the middle of the group. Greet other users. So be friendly with other trail users. That's the one most common complaint I hear, is that we get a little aggressive with other trail users, maybe before it's warranted. And I know that comes out of a place of fear. But try and be, as friendly as you can. It's a lot easier to educate somebody if you aren't attacking them. So try to, and always say hi. It helps your horse to hear them say hi back. If I say hi and they don't say anything, I just say, hey, could you please, say hi, because, that's going to help my horse know that you're human. And it really does it. It really calms your horse when they hear that voice. They're just like, oh, that's a human. So, and then just tell them, hope you're having a great day out on the trail, and just be as friendly as you can. Clean up. So you're going to clean up everything as we talked about in the other one. And some mud etiquette. These are tracks that a picture that I took from the Lakeland Trail. The Lakeland Trail is a multi-use rail trail. And if you were leaving tracks like this, you would not want to ride that day. You would want to wait until this solidifies. This is only really can you leave tracks like this in the very fragile freeze thaw cycle right after winter. Even if we get hard rains, the surface just does not, track like this. This is really just during that freeze thaw. A lot of our sandy trails, you're really not going to go through a freeze thaw cycle that you're going to do damage. So Michigan is a lot of sand, but in the areas where it's not all sand and it's some clay and that kind of stuff, it really is better to stay off of those slushy and muddy trails first thing in the spring, and give them a break and let them get solidified. It only takes about a week, if that, to do that. So just be aware of that. And one of the questions was, what are the camper responsibilities out there? I had Kelly help me with this because she is a ranger up there at Muskellonge State Park for Headquarters Lake and all the camps in that area. So respect quiet time. Quiet time is from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. and there are no generators allowed unless it's a silent generator. The DNR actually passed a rule now that even for medical reasons, you are not allowed to run a generator that makes any noise. There's good enough alternatives that are completely silent, battery packs, solar powered generators, anything like that you can use for your CPAP machines, or anything else that you may need. So absolutely no generators are allowed in the DNR camps, or no running generator, loud generators are allowed during that quiet time. And you always want to keep contained to your campsite. Keep all of your supplies, your horse, your dogs, everything contained to your own campsite. Know where, your campsite is. Don't be spilling out into the other campsites or your neighbor's campsite. Just be a good neighbor. And when you get to camp, read and follow the posted rules for camp. There's, are you supposed to check in for camp? you know, are you supposed to pay before you get in there? You know, and if you need to get in and go pick a site first, just make sure you get back up to the board and pay if you haven't, you know, already paid or made reservations. A lot of our camps don't take reservations, so you do have to pay at the post. And then always clean up your site. Again, leave your site, you know, better than it was. Clean up every single thing. This is where you can find out where you dispose of your manure. What are the rules for that camp? Are there manure bunkers? If so, use them. There should not be manure and hay spread out in a campground that has manure bunkers. If those manure bunkers are there, that is what you're supposed to use. Some camps, the rule is to pack it out with you when you leave. I believe that might only be a rule for Courtney Lake. I could be wrong though, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then only disperse it in the woods if campground allows. So the rules in the shore to shore campgrounds are that you spread out your manure and hay before you leave for the next camp. And you don't even have to do that you can do that in the camp sites, but try to put it, you know, somewhere that people, the thought is there that the next time a ride comes through, it will be broken down. And that is true, but people do camp in these camps in between. So, you know, just be mindful of that. Park in your in designated areas only. So, you know, designated campsites, designated trailheads, anything like that. Just make sure you're parking in areas where you are designated, you know, where a designated site is. Fill in any uneven areas that were created while camping before you leave. If your horse is a par, get that hole filled in before you leave so that it's not there for the next camper that comes by. Don't allow your equines to chew on trees. At Headquarters Lake, we do have to tie to trees. We don't have picket poles there. So it's important to keep your horse, you know, if he does chew, then, you know, tie him so that he can't get to that tree. Be courteous to your other campers. Again, just be a good neighbor. And no bedding in the pens. And so containment options, I was asked this too. So what are the containment options at camp? You also need to know the rules for the campground and, you know, which ones you can use. You can use temporary pens now at DNR camps. You didn't used to be able to. So that is an option. So for containing your horse, you can use an electric pen. These are used widely by endurance riders. You know, you could usually use some tape or some electric rope, and you have your step-in posts and a charger, and you set that up for your horse so that your horse has a little bit of room to move around. And then in areas where you know don't have trees or picket poles, it's helpful to have something like that too. There's also these PVC corrals that you can use, and that would be along the same line as an electric pen. And some of them do have the electric in them also. If you do get a PVC pen, I would get the electric just because your horse could blow through that, and the electricity will encourage them not to do that. So, you know, we all know about the high tie picket lines. That's our most common way in Michigan that we camp. And then we do have these high ties and spring ties, I think are the name of these. So these can be mounted to your trailer. They fold over to your trailer. And then when you tie your horse to them, you fold them out, and you can feed your horse on the side of your trailer. And it's another option, especially for these areas where they don't have a lot of trees or picket poles to tie to. It's a convenient thing to have. And then some camps have you tying to a hitching rail. that Brown County. That's how you tied your horses there. And you could, let's see, corrals at camp. More and more camps in Michigan are building corrals. That's the other thing that you can find in the information on the Michigan Horse Trails directory. So you're going to find which camps have corrals right here under camping. So it lists that, you know, like at Brighton, there's rustic camping and there are corrals. At Hell Creek Ranch or Hell Creek Equestrian Center, there's stalls. And Ortonville now has corrals. So you have rustic camping there with corrals. And somebody did ask if the DNR could list what camps have corrals. But I think the best resource for finding out what camps have corrals is really the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. I can't think of an easy way that the DNR could list that without having you have to go through like every equestrian camp and you know look for that information. So I would encourage you to search for that information, you know, on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. It's pretty easy to look through each table and find out who has corrals. Stalls, sometimes we have stalls at camps, not a ton in Michigan, but a few of them do. You can use that E-Pen, the high tie, and I think we talked about all the rest of these containment options. So again, the most common is a picket line. I would encourage you to have, you know, that. There are some really easy kits to use out there. And that's my favorite. I have the easy, what is it? The easy picket. And they don't make those anymore, but they make the ultimate Highline, I think it is called, and it's pretty much the same thing. And there's some other kits out there that are really easy. If you need information on those, let me know. We did come up with a horse camping list, a very, very complete horse camping list for that camping course that we did in Cadillac. I don't even have everything on this list in my truck and trailer. And it took me years to get what I do have. So, you know, we have this very complete list, but don't keep it from, you know, keep you from camping if you don't have everything on this list. You know, just make it a goal to get what you feel is important, you know, on this list, and you can do it over time. So for packing your saddlebag and your person, we have, you know, important items to carry on your saddle and important items to carry on your phone, on your person. You always want your phone on you, an ID, an emergency contact, map or compass, your keys on you, your knife and helmet, and your sunglasses. Those are important things to have. And then, you know, the less important things to have, you can keep on your saddle, just in case you and your horse ever get, you know, get disconnected. Trail etiquette on non-motorized multi-use trails. So this is the trail etiquette that we are suggesting that the DNR adopt for like our rail trails. We'd like to see the trail etiquette include all trail users and not just equestrians. It's very important for, you know, that riders or other trail users to know how to act around equestrians. But what we're noticing is that other trail users are at you know, not being safely respected on the trails too. So ride only trails where use is allowed. Faster moving trail users should yield to slower moving trail users. Be able to hear and communicate with other trail users. Earbuds are a real problem on our trails. And so right over on the side, we say wear just one earbud so you can remain aware of your surroundings and in communication with your fellow trail users. Always announce yourself when approaching or passing, and when approaching or when passing from behind. This is a really important one, and even for you as an equestrian, this is a really important one. You should always announce yourself, you know, when you're passing, and then, as we said before, you know, just always say hi to your fellow trail user. And communicate what you need. You know, if they're not doing what you need, communicate what you do need. They're not always going to listen, but you know, try it, because most of them will. Most of them just don't know if they're, you know, coming on too fast, and you know, you just say, hey, please, please, please slow down. You know, most of the time they will. And then you've educated them for the next time that they see a horse. So slow down when passing other trail users and stop when passing horseback riders. Speak with the horseback rider so that the horse knows you're human. Stand off to the low side of the trail, but not behind any objects. Contain your dogs and children, and keep the group all on one side of the trail. And then again, yield to slower moving trail users to keep everyone safe on the trails. For when incidents do happen out there on the trails or in camp, we do have the MHTA incident reporting form. And this has been an incredibly helpful thing to have. ETS has been keeping track of incidences for probably like 5 years now. But with this form, we stepped it up, and we are now reporting back to you what the, you know, annually, you know, what the report or what the incident reports were. And we're also reporting that to the DNR, and we can report it to other land managers too, where incidents happen. So this will take you to our incident report webpage. And the top one is the Michigan Horse Trails Association Incident Report. Then the next one is the Michigan DNR e-bike survey. So this is where, this is really important. If you have any incidences with e-bikes this summer, make sure you are filling out this Michigan DNR e-bike survey, because this is where the DNR is keeping track of what has happened. And in August, they will be deciding whether or not it's working to have e-bikes on the trails where they are. Backcountry Horsemen of America has an e-bike report form also, and then they also have a campground report. And if you have non-equestrians in equestrian campgrounds, they would like you to fill out that report. This is where you can find the whole report of the 2024 incidences in Michigan. And just to remind you that you should also be reporting incidences to the DNR or the Forest Service or whatever land manager, you know, that you're at, the Metro Park, especially if it's a serious one. If it's, you know, you can use your you know, decide if you do need to contact them. We'd like to hear about everything. But you know, maybe you do need to call the land manager, maybe you don't. But if it is a more serious one, please do that. They will hear from us about it too, but we'd like them to also hear from you. It's important for them to know what's happening out there on the trails. And who you could contact is the land managing office. So, you know, the Muscalong State Park is who you would call if it was at Headquarters Lake, or Brighton, you know, the Brighton office if it happened on Brighton trails. And then any trail associations that are here, please link to this incident report on your website, share it on your Facebook groups, and make sure your members know about it. The more that we have, you know, incidents reported, the more seriously we'll be taken, you know, about what's happening out there on the trails. We did have some pretty serious injuries this year at Kensington Metro Park. We had 2 pretty serious injuries. So, you know, and what we found from the incident report is, you know, our biggest problem is other trail users not yielding to us. So that's really good information to have, and helps us get the trail etiquette information out there that we need, and signage and that. Okay, so tonight we have the UP Trail Horse Association here with us to go over all UP things. Do you want to take that, Kelly and Joni?
Yeah, I can. Hi, Kelly Gribble from Upper Peninsula Trail Horse Association. I am the association president. Joni's on here too. She's our vice president, like Amy said, and then Kelly Kane is part of our board, part of our director board. So we have a Facebook group, Upper Peninsula Trail Horse Association. Just give that a search and you should be able to find our group. We do quite a bit of posting in that. And then we also have a website that we're working on getting up and running. It has not quite as nice as Amy's. She spent years perfecting hers and gathering all that information. But we've got a few things. We've got the trail riding and camping opportunities, a little bit of trail information about each spot, a UP specific equestrian event calendar. We have the events that the Upper Peninsula Trail Horse Association sponsor and support. We have, I think there was 11 or 12 of them this year that we decided that we would host, our members would host. And then there's some additional resources. We have links to Amy's websites in the directory and the Forest Service websites and the DNR. In the works, we'd like to do a Google map of UP trails and camps, just the UP ones. So you can go there and kind of get an idea of where they are kind of scattered across the UP. I would like to work on getting some dispersed camping opportunity locations put on there as well, because I think a lot of the areas in the UP, yeah, we have horse campgrounds, but a lot of people have dispersed camping locations that they like too, that I think would be of interest to other folks. And then we had a clinic this year, and hopefully we'll do a couple clinics next year, along with the rides that we have planned. Here, UP Trails and Camps, the Beatty Knot Grand Island in the Hiawatha National Forest. That one's up by Rapid River, between Escanaba and Manistee. Cedar River North, Cedar River, that's over by Menominee, headed toward Wisconsin. Courtney Lake is over by Mass City, kind of in the like Ontonagon area. Drummond Island, Fumie Lake Natural Area, Iron Mountain, like bordering Wisconsin as well. Headquarters Lake, Newberry, where I am at. Heritage Hills, Nagani Ishpeming, that's Joni. She's the founder and caretaker of Heritage Hills. If you have not been there, I highly recommend. Joni's an excellent host. Mackinac Island, Pine Bowl Pathway in Kinross. That's a nice Kelly Kane's daughter, Abby, is in our picture here. That's was your yearly photo op right there.
I love that photo. And
I know, I do too.
Kelly, she just finished her first year of college. Is that correct?
She did. She is 19 now, and we took a picture every fall in that spot with all of the horses she's gone through.
Oh,
yep, that is my
we need to
favorite.
see that collage.
Yeah.
We do.
I should make it into a collage. I just snap pictures randomly though, so.
Collage.
And then we have Pine Martin Run, which is is by Manistee, and Thunder Valley is Marquette, and that's kind of what we have.
And then you can find, the UP table here, and it tells you, the location, the miles of trail, which it's hard to say in the UP. You can ride forever, pretty much. The camping, what the type of camping, corrals if they have them, other users that you might see on the trails, whether hunting's allowed or not, who it's managed by, and the trail association associated with that. So all that information is found in the table. And then, Headquarters Lake is what I clicked on to show you all the detailed information. And then their website you can find right here. It's a super nice one too. So, you know, definitely go check out theirs. If you're gonna ride the UP, check out both of them. Get as much information as you can. And you know, you'll feel a lot more comfortable about adventuring there and anywhere else. That's why I did it, because I don't like to go somewhere when I don't have all the information. So I want all the information. And I just figured other people are that way too. So that's why figured we needed a directory for Michigan. All right.
So here's upcoming events that we have. We try to do events at a lot of the campgrounds and trails that we have, and then we also have a few events that are on the um, like the local watch list, as McNearney Ski Trail is not necessarily a designated horse trail, but the locals like to go there. It's a neat little trail. And the Lake Michigan weekend ride, that's kind of like one of the UP's best kept secrets. But I thought I'd share it with everyone. Cat's out of
It
the
is.
bag.
You shared it with
Yeah.
me last year, and it seriously is one of the best places to ride.
Yeah. And the Triangle Ranch one, I'm excited for that one because there's a lot of history with the Triangle Ranch. Apparently, it was like a 10,000 acre cattle ranch that like went defunct. And some of the old buildings are still there. And one of our members was gracious enough to invite us to go for a weekend there. So yeah, so it's just a list of things. Joni has a couple rides on here at Heritage Hills. Again, if you guys have not been there, I highly recommend going and hanging out with Joni. She's working on mapping out her trails. And Negaunee, the city of Negaunee, has been very gracious and inviting of equestrians. So hopefully over the next few years, Joni can keep plugging along at that and get us into town.
Yeah. It is amazing riding there. If you love history and you want to learn more about our mining history in Michigan, it is an absolutely amazing place to ride.
Yeah, so
right.
yeah, these are just, you know, some of the things that we've kind of got planned. Like Amy says, if for those that are hesitant to come to UP, don't be with social media now and like Amy helping push our group along and connecting everyone. We're so much more available to people for questions and stuff, and each area pretty much has like a person that, you know, I can send you, hey, you're going here, here's this person's information. They'll give you a little bit more the ins and outs kind of thing. So don't be intimidated, just come. I mean, bring your mapping app, because like Amy says, we have designated trails and then we have undesignated trails, and you're going to end up on undesignated trails and having just as much fun. So bring your mapping app and go riding.
Get out and explore. Find a body of water and go see it. That's my favorite thing to do. Yeah, this is UP Trail Association has done just amazing things in the 2 years they've been around. And you know, they went from like last year not having really hardly any events to a full calendar this year. And as you can see here, they've got a ride to Lake Superior, to Lake Huron, and to Lake Michigan. So you could ride with them to all three Great Lakes that surround the UP. So I highly recommend all of these rides. So make it to any of them that you can. Do we have any questions out there for the UP? And I'll go to the next slide because I did write down some questions that you had in the registration. So I think I guess I answered that one already, but can the DNR list corrals? They do have it on the individual camps, most of them. They might not yet have it on Fort Custer, but Most of them that have corrals, they do have listed. I don't know how the DNR can make a list of just saying, you know, these camps have corrals for you. So again, the best place to find that information is the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Is there any movement towards electrical in camps? Yes. Fort Custer got electric. Was it just this year, last year? Can't remember. But they got electric. Barb, you can speak up if you're here still.
I think they jumped off not too long ago.
Okay. And Ionia is slated to get electricity. We're hoping for 2026 for that. So this year, the modern campground, the people campground is getting redone, and the electricity will be ran to the equestrian campground so that when they have enough money, it'll be there. They just have to, you know, put it at all the sites then. So that's the news on that. We've pointed out a few other camps that we'd like to see electricity in. So yeah, we're definitely making, you know, movement towards that.
I do have one campsite that has electric. I think
Okay.
you guys stayed at that, didn't you, Amy?
No, we were out in that field.
Oh, okay. I had another group
Barb,
last
you
year.
are on.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, Barb and
the Barb?
Yeah, you, Barb.
Yeah. We were really surprised when they put the electric in at Fort Custer, because everybody knew that Ionia was going to be first. And then they were doing all the electric and just completely redid the people campground. And it's not that far between the two campgrounds. So they were able to, they thought it would be easy, but it was not. And they spent a lot of extra money. So God bless them, to get it to.
It's like the only rocky part of your park. In
Exactly.
between
Yeah.
the two campgrounds.
Yeah.
It was
There's
ridiculous.
there's electric on all 7 sites,
Yeah.
and the pavilion has 4 outlets in the pavilion too.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
amazing. That's amazing. And you don't have the running water yet, but that will come sometime.
Well,
We're gonna start discussing that
we're
at
talking about it.
June meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. We continue talking about it. There's electric over there, you know, site 7 is real close to the pump. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
we'll see.
And
Yeah.
the other thing is, not only all sites have 30 amp, but the 5, 6, and 7, where bigger rigs will pull in, they have 50 amp service also.
You can have a really
Yeah.
big rig. Oh, yeah. And the
That's
park's
great.
really happy because by golly, people are using the campground now.
Yeah.
Go figure.
And they also have corrals, Fort Custer does, and the corrals have
On 3
Canopies.
of them.
canopies. Yeah, 3 of the sites have corrals, and those corrals have canopies, so your horse has some shade. So yeah, really, they've done a great job there.
Amy, if I may for real quick, I just learned today that the DNR gives the information to the reservation company that they've hired, the out-of-state reservation company. So Tony has got, like for our manager, he's gotten that information to them, the reservation company that's twiddling their thumbs or dragging their feet or can't seem to get it on the site.
All right, I will, I'll message Jeremy, because he can get on them about that.
Excellent.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't have meetings
It
with
came
him
up as a
anymore, but
question,
I'll
came
email
up as
him.
a question somebody was asking this morning, that they had tried to reserve and couldn't find anything else. So I emailed our park manager and he responded back. That,
Okay.
they send it on, but they're gonna send it again.
Okay. All right. Okay, and then another question is, do you always have to pick it? No, you don't always have to pick it in Michigan. Like I said, you can bring a temporary corral to your DNR camps and maybe some of the other camps too. You could use, you could tie to your trailer. And then some of our camps have corrals and some have stalls. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's lots of different things you can do.
So
How
yeah,
to find the
Fort
what?
Custer, the fort, they allow temporary
Yeah.
corrals also for the 4 that don't have corrals. So
Okay.
yeah.
How to find a location. I showed you guys how to do that with the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. That's really the easiest way now to do it is just go, find that trailhead or campground and you'll get the exact location of that. And then any information for riding in the Keweenaw. We don't have any designated horse trail in the Keweenaw. We are working towards that. We have a volunteer that lives up there that is interested in getting us some designated horse trail. So Kelly and I and some others are working with her with the DNR to do that. So stay tuned for that. And then if you guys want to stick around for the equestrian trails and campground survey results, I will go through that really quick. So we had 222 responses. 90% of the respondents camped with their horses. It was open for about a month and it was advertised by email, Facebook, equestrian trail groups, and at the Michigan Horse Expo. So which region of Michigan do you live in? We had, a good representation from everywhere, really. The top 10
Cool.
trails that are ridden the most. Waterloo is number 1. And Hungerford is number 2, Silver Creek number 3, Fort Custer number 4, Ionia number 5, and then we have Shore to Shore, Ortonville, Elba, Elk Hill, and Pinckney. Which trail system is your favorite? Hungerford, slightly higher than Waterloo. And then Elk Hill, and that was my guess. My guess was it was going to be Hungerford, Waterloo, and Elk Hill. So we had Shore to Shore, Fort Custer, Ionia, Silver Creek, Elba, South Branch, Big Oaks. The top 10 places you most like to ride, but you haven't. That's where the UP killed it. And then if you add in Mackinac Island, there you go, over 50%. Why have you not ridden there yet? Time and distance are the 2 biggest ones, which makes sense if they say they haven't ridden the UP yet. What type of terrain is your favorite? Rolling hills with little elevation change was 30%. Hills, rock, and challenging was 25%. Depends on the ride, 33%. Water features, flat sandy trails, and varied terrain. And then do you feel Michigan provides enough of this type of terrain? 70% said yes, 30% said no. We asked, do you feel safe on the trails in Michigan? Most of the time was 60%, always was 37%, and then some of the time 2.3. What makes you not feel safe on the trails? 50% was shared trails, suspicious people, off-leash dogs, and trail maintenance too, and then some other things also. For the shared trails, bikes and ORV were mentioned just about 50% of the time each. So there wasn't a big difference between that. How many miles of trails do you feel you need for a day ride? 10 to 20 was 60%, 5 to 10 was 35%, 20 to 30 miles was 4%. How many miles of trails do you need for a weekend of camping? 10 to 20 miles for 40%, 20 to 30 for 35%, 5 to 10 for 5%, 30 to 40, 14%, and then 40 miles, 6%, 40 plus. How many miles do you need for a week of camping? 40 plus miles, 40%, 30 to 40 miles, 20 to 30, and even 10 to 20 made that. Do you ever move camps during a week or more of riding? That's what I really like to do in Michigan. If I'm going for 10 days, I'm probably not going to be sticking in one place. I probably am going to be in 3 places, to tell you the truth. I just like to go explore more areas. So we want to encourage more people to do that because, you know, we hear a lot, well, they don't have enough trails, you know, for me to go there for a week. Well, then go, you know, a few different places. 36% said yes, they do that sometimes, 26% and no, 40%. There's a lot of people that you know, they don't want to do that. They want to get somewhere and stay there for a week. So, you know, everybody can do what they want, but we want to help encourage those who do want to get out and explore that way. So we asked, would you move camps? You know, if you were provided with suggestions of which camps to combine, 60% said yes to that, and 30% said maybe. So that is going to be a goal of ours to do. And then UP Trail Horse Association can probably help me out with that too, for, you know, trips to the UP. Top 10 camp at the most. So Hungerford, #1, Waterloo and Ionia, Silver Creek, D-Bar-D, Shore to Shore, Elk Hill, Ortonville, Yankee Springs, and Shex. Why do you camp there the most? Amenities, location, trails, familiar, campground, and your trail association events also made it. Top 3 camps, why you camp there the most. At Hungerford, the trails. Hungerford has like 50 miles of trails. People really appreciate that amount of trails, and the trails are very nice. They're very pretty, and you know, they're easy on your horse. Location also. And I don't think anybody's complaining about that wonderful solar well pump they have there. And their campsites actually are very nice. They've got, you know, the improved gravel pads for the trailers. They've got improved footing for the horses. They've put some effort into those campsites. Waterloo, reasons they camp there the most: location, trails, amenities, and events. And Ionia, the reasons they camp there the most: the trails, campsites, location, amenities. People love those corrals. And familiarity, and also their events. Top 11 favorite campgrounds, there was a tie, so I couldn't do just top 10. So favorite campgrounds: Hungerford, Waterloo, D-Bar-D, Ionia, Elk Hill. It was really good to see Ionia here because that helps us prove to the DNR that Ionia is a good choice for electricity. You know, it's going to be very expensive to put electricity in that campground. They're planning every site, I believe. So it's good to have this information to show them, you know, yes, people love camping at Ionia. Elk Hill made it, Ortonville, Big Oaks, Fort Custer, Yankee Springs, Headquarters Lake, and South Branch. Why is that your favorite campground? 70% of the time it's trails. For Hungerford, campsites and amenities. And Waterloo, it's amenities. Again, people love those corrals. They love the solar well, trails, and campsites. And then D-Bar-D, amenities. D-Bar-D's, you know, a modern campground, so people do love that. The trails there, easy access, location, familiar, and signage. What amenities do you like while camping? This was really a good one to see too. Corrals are our favorite. And I think that just goes to show that we care about our horses' comfort more than ourselves. And we like to know our horse is safe, you know, more than we care about, you know, what's there for us. So you guys that are putting corrals in at your campgrounds are on the right track. I love a corral. I love pulling in and just throwing my horse in a corral. So hopefully we see that at more and more camps. People want a fire pit. They want a picnic table, picnic poles, 30 amp. The DNR did ask me how many 50 amp sites they think that I think that they need at Ionia. So I just had no clue. So I threw this in the survey, and hopefully this gives them a better idea of what to shoot for, of how many 50 amp sites to have at Ionia. They had asked me if they thought every site should be 50 amp, and I did not think so. So I think this shows that. Solar or electric wells we love, vault toilets. Everybody wants a toilet, I guess. Bathhouse would be wonderful. Hand pump, improved horse footing, sanitation station, gravel pad, horse wash, dispersed camping, pavilion, and food. The one thing I forgot to ask was a manure bunker, so I don't have that in here, darn it. Do you choose your camp based on amenities? No, 37% of the time. Yeah, sometimes 30%, more often than not, 16%. And yes, 18%. So there's a decent amount of people that do choose their camps based on amenities. What makes you feel unsafe in camps? Suspicious people, non-equestrians in our camps is the number one. Homeless in our camps. So pretty much it's people. If you're alone and lack of park staff. Do you feel safe camping in Michigan? Yes, 80% of the time, sometimes 20%. It answered that. What makes you camp outside of Michigan? A change of scenery, challenging trail, group trips, increased mileage, amenities at camp, and separate trails from bikes and ORV, and better signage. Are you familiar with and do you utilize the Michigan Horse Trails Directory? Yes, 73%, no, 20%, have not heard of it, 7.7%. So I think we're doing a really good job of getting the word out there, and I'm really excited to see that many people use it. What information would help you get out to explore Michigan on horseback? Reservations at camps, more time. We can't do much for that for them. Location, people wanted to know where the location is, which that's available on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Easy access to places, attractions near camp, that's available on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Riding Friends is available on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Better signage, better maps. Maps are available on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Descriptions are available there also. Some people said bug reports, which yeah, we can kind of do those. But gosh, that can change day to day. Weather reports, promotion, we can do a better job promoting always. App information, trail etiquette, amenity information, again, found on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory. Some people would like to see campground diagrams so they can better choose their sites. That's a great idea. If we do get those, I will put those on the Michigan Horse Trails Directory so we have those available. And more information about the events, which again, that can be found on Michigan Horse Trails Directory. And then for the detailed information on events, you're going to want to check in with the association's, website and Facebook groups to find that information. So that's what I had for you tonight. Any questions at all or comments?
Mute. There we go. If no questions, thank you, Amy, for all this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank
Great.
you for all you do.
Yeah.
Park Custer showed up there a lot.
Yeah. So are all of your slides printable? Are they
Yeah.
available?
I will
Okay.
post, well, you guys will get this talk, but then I will post this report on the website also.
Okay. And since this whole class was recorded, you're going to have it up that people can watch it?
If they register for it, they can get a link for it afterwards. We send it out to the people that registered. So yeah, if other people want it, they can register and they can just say, will you please send me the recording, of that one.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
they can contact us.
Cool. Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Supper time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, for having the Upper Peninsula Trail Horse Association. I learned a
Yeah.
lot too.
Good. Good. Yeah, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to share. So, part of my goal of having the trail associations here, that would join is if you guys know about it, you can share it with your members too, So, but yeah, I will see you guys in the UP. Can't
Thank you,
wait.
Amy.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye.